Hello there, everyone. I take it some of you may have seen my previous video, my July 2025 movie ranking, where I ranked all the movies that I saw in the cinema for the month of July. And I did that because I hasn't gotten around to actually reviewing any of them in full because I ended up missing that entire month of July. So I decided, in order to make up for some last time, I'd just do like a short ranking of all of them in one video. But obviously, July wasn't the only month that I missed. Because obviously I also missed the month of August. So I did not get around to reviewing any of the movies that I saw for the month of August. Um, given that I did a ranking video of all the movies that I saw during the month of July, I figured I may as well do the same for August. Um, yeah, I suppose I may as well just get to that now. So, anyway, without further ado, here is my August 2025 movie ranking. And unlike in the last one where we had 7 movies, this time I have 10 movies to rank this time. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get to ranking the 10 movies. So, starting off the bottom of the list, at number 10, we have Eddington. Now, this was one that I was honestly looking forward to because, it's directed by Ari Aster, who I honestly think is a very good director. Like, I absolutely love Hereditary. I think Hereditary is honestly like a 10 out of 10 movie in my opinion. But I also really like his film Midsommar as well. I mean, Florence Pugh is in that movie, so obviously it's good. Um, and I know his movie from a couple of years ago, Beau is Afraid, that one was a bit of a divisive movie, but I still thought that was a pretty good movie, even if it's not as good as the other two. But this latest movie from him, Eddington, I have to be honest, I think this is easily his weakest movie so far that he's directed. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't a big fan of this one. And like, don't get me wrong, the movie is not like that bad. It's not like horrible or anything. It does, present some interesting ideas. I mean, the movie is set during the infamous year of 2020, and the movie basically kind of talks about some of the stuff that we have to deal with as a society during the year 2020, like the pandemic and like the BLM movement, etc. And like I think it's kind of meant to be kind of about like how that year kind of really brought out the worst in a lot of us. Like it does have some interesting ideas, but like the thing is though, like the movie doesn't really do the best when it comes to executing some of these concepts, because like I mean the movie is basically about like Joaquin Phoenix's character, who is this sheriff of this town, and he basically wants to run for mayor because like he kind of disagrees with some of the guidelines for the lockdown. And we also have like Pedro Pascal in this, who plays like his rival, who is the mayor of the town. Like the movie does focus a bit on that, but like there's also kind of some other stuff going on in this as well, like with the BLM movement, and there's also like this whole subplot where Joaquin Phoenix's character's wife, who is played by Emma Stone, she basically gets involved with this cult leader who's played by Austin Butler. Like there's like a whole subplot with that, and like there's a fair bit going on in the movie. And honestly, I don't particularly think like the movie does a great job in terms of like executing all its concepts and kind of bringing it all together and stuff. Like I don't know, I just thought that like the execution of all these concepts was quite lackluster, and like again the movie is like it's like trying to do a whole lot with this stuff that it doesn't really connect together all that well. It kind of feels like the movie's going back and forth with different places, and like ultimately the movie doesn't really have anything like that, profound to say when it comes to like, a lot of the stuff that's talking about. So it's talking about how like the COVID pandemic and the BLM movement and stuff. Like it's really like it's talking about about how like all this stuff in 2020 happened, and how it brought out the worst in a lot of us, but like also it just I don't know, it feels like the movie doesn't really have anything that's truly like profound to say about all this stuff. Like ultimately I think the execution like of this concept and stuff is just ultimately rather poor. And I just thought that like the movie could have done a way better job with it all. So like again, it's not like a horrible movie. It does have interesting ideas. It is a well shot movie, and for what it's worth, like I mean, there is a good cast in this movie, and they do well with the performances in this. But like overall, I can't say I was a big fan of this one. So yeah, this is honestly one of the more disappointing movies that I've seen so far this year, yeah. And hence, in my opinion, it's the weakest movie I saw for the month of August. So, yeah, unfortunately, I'm afraid that this one can only go number 10. Alright, now at number 9, we have Freakier Friday. Now, I did check out the first Freaky Friday movie from over 20 years ago before seeing this new one, and I mean I do really like the original Freaky Friday. Like it's a really fun, it's a really good movie, a really funny like comedy and stuff. I do think the first Freaky Friday is really good. In terms of my thoughts on this new Freaky Friday, this like legacy sequel to the original, I think like overall it's an okay one. Like it's a decent enough movie in my opinion, but I don't really particularly think it's all that great. Cause like I mean like cause the movie set like over like 20 years like after the original movie, and Lindsay Lohan's character is now a mother, and like she's getting married to this new guy, and he has a daughter, and their daughters don't get along with each other, but like they're gonna have to be stepsisters. And then like what happens then, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, they basically body swap with Lindsay Lohan's daughter and the other girl. And it it all kind of ensues from there. And like, here's the thing. I think this movie's okay. Like, like it's a fun time. Like, it is nice to see a lot of like the original cast members from the first movie again. Like, like with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan both back, and like it is nice to see them all again. And for what's worth, there is some like decent comedy in this one. Like there are some funny moments in this one, I'll admit. And I think the performances are quite good. Like both Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan both do well playing these characters again, and I think the performances from the new cast members are solid. Like Julia Butters and Sophia Hammonds, they all do well enough in this new one. But like, where some of my flaws kind of stand with the new one is that like the movie does have like a lot of like really kind of familiar tropes and stuff of how like like this like we have this girl and her mom's getting married to this new man and he has a daughter and they don't get along with each other, they don't want to become a family and stuff. Like, I'll be honest, like there again, there's a lot of very like familiar tropes, and honestly, it's all a bit, predictable and stuff. Like, you can pretty much kind of guess where things are gonna go and stuff. Like, it is honestly quite predictable in that regard. And also, like, I feel like even though there is some decent comedy in this one, like overall, I do think the original Freaky Friday is just a funnier movie overall. I felt this new one, while it still has funny moments, it wasn't as funny as the original movie. Yeah, I didn't really like this one as much as the original film, but like, even though this one's not great, I still overall has an enjoyable enough time with it. Like, if you do love the original, I'd say you'll have a fun time with the new one. Overall, I'd say I enjoyed this one enough, but I'll still take the original movie though. But it's not a bad legacy sequel or anything. Overall, it's an okay movie, just not particularly anything amazing or grand. But overall, in spite of my flaws, it's an enjoyable enough watch. Now at number 8, we have The Toxic Avenger. Now, I'm not sure how many of you watching this have ever like watched the original Toxic Avenger movies, but I did give some of them a watch in preparation for the new one, and like, they're definitely not exactly movies that most mainstream audiences will enjoy, because like, they're honestly like really kind of out there, like very like extreme movies and stuff. And this new one is basically, it's kind of like a reboot of the franchise. Like, it's kind of, even though like it is another Toxic Avenger movie, it's basically kind of trying to be its own thing from like the original films, which honestly I do like that. I do like how this new one doesn't just try to be like the original movies, It does kind of try to just be its own thing, which I do like. And like, overall, I think I had a decent time with the new Toxic Avenger movie. Like, there is some genuinely funny moments in this one, and there is some like decent like gore effects and stuff, like with it, obviously being like a really kind of violent superhero movie. we do get some like pretty kind of gory, intense kills and stuff. Um, and like there's some like fun performances in this. Like I mean, Peter Dinklage is clearly having a lot of fun in the lead role, and I mean, I thought like Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood were going this as like the villains. Like Kevin Bacon in particular really hams it up as the main villain in this one. Um, like I mean, I thought it was like decently enjoyable and stuff. Like and I do like kind of like some like the story with this one. Like I do like how like Peter Dinklage's character and his whole arc and stuff. Like you do sympathize with this character and like overall it's a fun time and stuff. Like I feel like if you do really enjoy like kind of like extreme like gory comedies and stuff, I'd say you'll probably have a fun time with this one. I will say though, like I do think like in terms of like the plot of this one, like it is honestly like a lot more tame compared to the original movie. Like this is actually technically like a 2023 movie because it actually premieres at the Fantastic Fest in September 2023, so nearly 2 years ago now. But like it only got released there this past August because I think like a lot of like major distributors weren't too eager to pick it up. And like honestly, I mean, I can kind of understand why, but like I mean, this one's distributed by Cineverse, who are also the distributors of the Terrifier movies, and compared to those films, which are really like definitely out there, very gory, extreme, not films for mainstream audiences to enjoy. And like this movie, I mean, sure it is still quite gory, but I know I just feel like it wasn't really on that same level as the Terrifier movies. I mean, yeah, it's like it's definitely not as extreme as the original Toxic Avenger movies are. And overall, I didn't absolutely love this new Toxic Avenger film, but I mean, I enjoyed it enough for what it was. Yeah, it's a decently fun, gory time. Yeah, and if you do enjoy movies like this, if you can stomach movies like this, then I'd say it's worth a watch. Now at number 7, we have The Roses. I am technically cheating putting this one on the list since I actually watched this one in September. Technically, it was released in Ireland on August 29th, so even though I am cheating putting it on the list, I'm still going to count it as an August movie. Now I am aware that, this movie's an adaptation of a novel, and I know there was an original movie adaptation of this novel, The War of the Roses. I've never watched the original movie or read the original novel, so I cannot compare anything here, but like in terms of like my thoughts on this new one, kind of like on its own as a movie, I had a fun time with this one. Like it's honestly quite a funny, like dark comedy and stuff. Like it's basically about like this married couple who are played by Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman, and like they're a happy couple at first, but then tensions start to arise when Benedict Cumberbatch's character Theo, his architect's career starts to fail, and then Olivia Colman's career as a chef begins to rise, and this basically starts, this whole conflict between the two of them, which just begins to escalate more and more as the movie goes on. And honestly, it is quite fun, like watching, this builds up as the two of them are arguing. And like we do have like a good writer for this one with Tony McNamara, who of course was also the writer for Poor Things, and he definitely implements a lot of really good kind of dark comedy and stuff, as we're just watching this couple begin to argue and stuff. And yeah, like honestly, I will say it's a funny movie. Like if you do enjoy a good dark comedy, you'll be entertained by this one. Like there were plenty of times during this movie where like I was laughing, and the audience I watched this one with, they were laughing as well throughout it, which I do always like to see. There's also like honestly some really good cinematography in the movie. Like there's actually some really nice like wide angle shots. And I think the performances are really good in the film. Like I think both Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman, they're honestly a lot of fun in this in the lead roles. Like the two of them, like they're just this couple that are angry with each other and stuff. Like honestly, it's really funny to like watch as like things begin to escalate between the two of them. And like there is some good like supporting turns in this from like Andy Samberg and Kate McKinnon and stuff. Like I think they do well enough in their supporting roles, but like I wouldn't particularly call the movie amazing or anything. Like I feel like some of the supporting players, even though they did well enough in the movie, I feel like some of them could have been given a bit more to do. Like I mean, like Alison Janney especially, I thought like she was honestly quite underutilized here because she's only really in the movie for like one scene. She's basically a glorified cameo in this. Like nonetheless, overall, I enjoyed the movie enough for what it was. Again, I've never seen the original movie adaptation of the novel. I've never read the novel. I'm only watching this movie as kind of its own thing. I enjoyed this one enough for what it was. I don't think it's a particularly amazing movie or anything, but I had a fun time with this one, and like if you do like dark comedies, I say yeah, you should give this one a watch. It's a fun time. Now at number 6, we have Nobody 2. Now, I did watch the first Nobody in preparation for the new one. I do really like the first Nobody. The first Nobody is a really fun, action, comedy, thriller. And like in terms of my thoughts on Nobody 2, this is a really fun action sequel. Like, I mean, in this one, Hutch basically decides he needs to take a vacation from, all the killing and stuff. So, he goes out on, like, holiday with his family, and then, but they go to this town and, like, this theme park, and soon they figure out that the whole area is filled with, like, corruption and stuff, and he basically decides, that it's his job to kind of take it all down and stuff. And for me personally, I think this is a really fun action sequel. Like, honestly, I think this movie is actually way better than it has any right to be. I mean, because, like, with a lot of, like, action sequels where, the main character is taking his family out on holidays and stuff, a lot of the time that might not work. It might just be, an inferior sequel to the first one. And while I personally didn't like this one as much as the first movie, I still had a fun time with Nobody 2. Like, there are some honestly really, really good action sequences in this. Like, one action scene in particular that I really enjoyed was, the scene on the duck boat. I mean, the fact it's on a duck boat is enough for me to say it's the best scene. But no, genuinely, I do think it actually is a great action scene. And like the performances for the most part are really good in this. Like Bob Odenkirk still does a great job as Hutch, and I think the rest of the cast do decent enough for the most part. Although, if I do have any complaints with this movie, I honestly wasn't really a big fan of the villain, Lendina. Like, obviously she's played by Sharon Stone, who can be a really good actress, but I don't know, I felt like she was just a bit too hammy in this one for my liking. I didn't really think her performance was all that great in this one. But other than that though, I had a fun time with Nobody 2. It's a really good, action sequel, and I think if you did enjoy the first Nobody, I'd say you're gonna have fun with this one as well. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. This was a really fun time. Okay, so now we're halfway through the list, and at number 5, I have The Naked Gun. Now, in my opinion, I really liked this new Naked Gun movie. Now, don't shoot me, but I've actually never seen any of the original Naked Gun movies with Leslie Nielsen. Like, I've actually admittedly just didn't get time to watch any of the old ones, so I'm only kind of watching this one as its own thing. But in terms of my thoughts on this new Naked Gun movie, I really, really enjoyed this one. Like, I have to say, I think this might be the funniest movie that I've seen this year. Like, when I watched this in the cinema, I burst out laughing while watching this. Like, believe me, there are plenty of really, really funny jokes in this one. Like, the comedy in this film is, I think, really what kind of drives it a lot, because I think the comedy in this movie is just, it's brilliant. It's honestly filled with so much funny humor. Yeah, honestly, in terms of like what the funniest movie I've seen this year is, this honestly has to be it. This is like honestly a brilliant comedy. And the performances are really good in this as well. Like, Liam Neeson does a great job as Frank Drebin Jr. and Pamela Anderson's really good as his love interest. I thought Paul Walter Hauser was a lot of fun in this too, and like even Danny Houston as our main villain in this one. Like, he was honestly a fun antagonist, I thought. Like, he's also a very hammy villain, but he's a hammy villain that I enjoy. I will say, like, I do think, like, his whole, like, evil scheme in this one, it's actually, like, pretty much the same as, Samuel L. Jackson's evil plan in Kingsman. I did notice that. Like, for the most part, I think this movie is just a really funny, like, comedy. Like, it's a brilliant, parody film, and, like, even though I've never watched the original movies with Leslie Nielsen, I think I honestly should definitely check them out sometime after watching this new one, because this new movie's a lot of fun. If you want, like, a good comedy, I'd say you should definitely give this one a watch, because me personally, I really enjoy this new Naked Gun movie. Yeah, again, if you love a good comedy, give this a watch. I thought this was a really good movie, and honestly a brilliant comedy. Now at number 4 on the list, we have Caught Stealing. You might watch the trailer for this movie and you might go in thinking it's going to be kind of a comedy, which, to be fair, like, it is sort of a comedy. Like, there's definitely a comedic aspect to the film. It is pretty dark though, so like, it's basically like a comedy crime thriller, and like, it does kind of have a bit of a familiar, like, narrative, where we have Austin Butler in this movie as well as our main lead, Hank. And like, he's just an ordinary guy living in a New York apartment, and he's in a relationship with Zoe Kravitz's character, who is a paramedic, and his neighbor, who is played by Matt Smith, is like going off to London, so he gets Hank to take care of his cat. But then it turns out that Matt Smith's character of Ross has been involved in some shady stuff, and unfortunately Hank gets caught up in it, so now like he basically has to fight his way out of it. Like, you've probably kind of seen stuff similar to this movie before, but I think the execution here honestly really goes a long way. Like, this movie is really captivating from start to finish. Like, throughout the movie, like, you're glued to the screen, you want to see like what's gonna happen next and stuff. Like, it really is like a great like thriller. I like, to be fair, it can be pretty funny as well. Like, I do like, like the whole comedic aspects of the film. And I think the performances are great as well. Like, Austin Butler does a great job in the lead role. He really does make you care about his character. I thought Zoe Kravitz was very good in the movie as well. I did like their chemistry as a couple in the movie. Matt Smith was also really good, even though he's not in the movie for a lot of it. And even a lot of the supporting cast, like Regina King, Baz Bunny, Liev Schreiber, Vincent D'Onofrio, they all are really good as well in their roles. And like, as I said, it's a very captivating thriller. Like, you want to see what's going to happen next. You want to find out what's going to happen. And I will say, there is actually some really shocking twists and turns that this movie takes I was not expecting. Like, there's one or two times where the movie will actually kill off one of the characters, and you initially thought that that character was going to survive for longer. Like, there's one kill especially in this movie that I was actually shocked when it happened. Like, I genuinely did not expect it to happen. And it's a really well shot movie as well. You really do get the vibe that, this is New York in the 1990s. Like, I actually thought this was a great movie. I really, really enjoyed this one. If this movie sounds like something you'll be interested in, definitely give it a watch. I do highly recommend it, yeah? Overall, I really enjoyed Caught Stealing. This was a great movie in my opinion. Now on to our top three. And at number 3, we have Together. I thought this was honestly a really good, kind of body horror like because in this one we have this couple who are of course played by real life married couple Dave Franco and Alison Brie, and it's like they go out like to live in this place because like Dave Franco is a failing musician and Alison Brie is a teacher, and she gets a new job. They move out to this area, and one day while they're out walking, they get stuck in a cave, and they do manage to escape, but slowly weird stuff starts to happen, and they start to feel as if, they're being put closer together. Yeah. Like, you know kind of what's going to happen. Like, you've seen the posters and the trailers. You know exactly what's happening in this movie. And if you do like a good, body horror movie, this is definitely worth a watch. Like, I don't think it's as good as, say, The Substance from last year, but I still honestly really enjoyed Together in its own right. I mean, like, there is some really good effects in this one of when, like, their bodies start to stick together and stuff. Like, it is kind of really yucky looking and stuff, and yeah, there is some sequences in this that, are going to be quite memorable, like, some, like, the real kind of body horror sequences that we have in this, but, also, like, the performances from the two main leads are really, really good, and Obviously, to make it all better is the fact that, our main leads are actually married in real life. And so it's kind of no wonder that the two of them actually have like genuinely great chemistry. Of course they do, since they're actually together in real life. It can be pretty funny at times. There is kind of, a comedic aspect to the movie as well. And there's some like decently funny humor in there. There's also some good cinematography in here as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It's a great body horror movie, and again, if you do love body horror films, do give this a watch because it's definitely worth the watch. Yeah, I personally really, really enjoyed Together. Now at number 2 on the list, we have Weapons. Now, this is the horror movie that like pretty much everyone's been talking about recently, and for very good reason, because this is a really, really good horror movie. I mean, between this movie and Barbarian, Zach Cregger is really proving himself as a great modern horror director. Like, it's kind of interesting that, like, he came from a background of comedy and stuff, and now he's actually doing horror movies, and I think he does a great job in terms of directing this one. Like, I mean, the movie does have a great balance of, like, there is some comedic moments, but there's a lot of, like, really good, very, like, suspenseful moments, and, like, there's some really good horror in this, like, throughout the movie, like, there are some, like, sequences, some moments in here that are honestly, like, quite intense, and, they leave you at the edge of your seat wanting to see what's gonna happen. And, like, it's a really intriguing mystery. Like, throughout the movie, you're trying to, like, figure out, like, what actually happened to these kids. Like, why did they all go running away one night? And, like, the movie also has a really interesting, kind of narrative structure where it basically focuses like on the perspectives of different characters. Like, it does a good job of making you like actually care about all the characters that it focuses on. I like there's really good performances in this as well. Like I thought Julia Garner does a great job in the movie as, like the teacher of the classroom, and like she's the one that everyone's kind of blaming for what happens to him because she's the teacher of this class. I think Julia Garner does a great job in the movie. I thought Josh Brolin was also really good. He's also in this as the father of one of the missing kids. I actually thought he did a great performance in this as well. Like some of the other supporting performances, like Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, Benedict Wong, they all did very good in this. And like even Carrie Christopher as the young kid Alex, who was of course he's the only boy in the class that didn't disappear. Like even he actually does a really good job for such a young age. And again, a really well shot movie. Like honestly, really good cinematography. And it is a great mystery. I do love like all the build up and like we focus on different characters' perspectives, and as the movie goes on, we're slowly kind of starting to try to figure out what's actually going on and stuff. And like it is a very interesting twist once we get reveals what's actually going on. I think it's well written with plenty of good horror moments and stuff. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed Weapons. Like, it's no wonder this movie's getting talked about a lot because honestly, I think this is definitely one of the best horror movies of the year. Like, if you are a huge horror fan and you still somehow haven't watched this one, do give this one a watch. Like, yeah, this is easily one of the best horror movies I've seen this year. I really enjoyed Weapons personally. But now, for number 1 on the list, my number 1 favorite movie for the month of August, we have The Life of Chuck. This movie is brilliant. Like, this movie is honestly phenomenal. Like, this has to be, like, easily one of my absolute favorite movies that I've seen this year. Like, this is, like, easily in my top three favorite movies of the year. This movie truly is brilliant. It's just about like this ordinary accountant known as Chuck, and it basically just focuses on like the different aspects of his life. Here's the thing: the movie has a really interesting narrative structure. It starts during Act 3 and it ends during Act 1. Like, during the first bit of the movie, or even supposedly, in a way, the last bit of the movie, um, like, you're a bit kind of confused. You're not really entirely sure, like, what this all actually means and stuff. But as the movie goes on, you actually kind of do start to understand things a lot more, and, here's the thing. Like, if you go in thinking, like, who actually is Chuck? Like, what is his importance to everything? Like, that's not really what this movie is. Like, this movie, it is just focusing on, well, the life of Chuck. Just an ordinary accountant, but, it focuses on different aspects of his life, and, it's all really interesting to watch. Like, it focuses on, like, different aspects of his life, good stuff that happens, bad stuff that happens, just all different aspects of life in general. I think it's honestly just brilliant. Like, it's a very well directed movie. Like, honestly, Mike Flanagan did a great job directing this film. It's very well written too. Like, this is based off a short story by Stephen King, and like it's really just interestingly written, and it feels like real and stuff. It actually like it feels like this could be someone's life. And like it's a very cinematic movie. Like, the way everything is brought to life by Mike Flanagan is just brilliant. Honestly, I think the cinematography in the movie is really, really good with the way it's shot. It's a very well shot movie. And I have to say, I think a lot of the performances are really good. Like, this movie honestly has a pretty big cast. I think they all, like, do, like, great jobs in their own right of playing, like, all their different characters. Like, even like the different actors that play Chuck throughout his life all do really good for the screen time that they get. And like, even all like the supporting cast in the movie are all really good in this as well. But like, in terms of who I think is overall the standout performance in the cast, I think honestly Mark Hamill does a great performance in this movie. Like, he plays Chuck's grandfather, and I have to say I really liked his performance in the movie. Like, he did a brilliant job in this film. Like, there's one scene in particular where he's basically just giving this speech to Chuck. Like, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And I really like the way that he actually performs that scene. Like, the monologue he gives in that scene, it's really memorable and stuff, and it is brilliant. Like, all throughout the movie, there's different like lines of dialogue and stuff, and as the movie goes on, like, it all starts to really connect together, and like by the end of it, like, you understand everything that's happening. You understand what it all means and stuff. It really it's just focusing on this character known as Chuck and the different like aspects of his life out of order. But I think like it really is just a brilliant movie in terms of how it's all executed and stuff. Like, again, I absolutely love this movie. Like, again, this is easily one of my favorite movies I've seen so far this year. This is easily, like, in my top three of the year. I absolutely love The Life of Chuck. This is easily my favorite movie that I saw during the month of August. If you haven't seen this one, you should definitely give it a watch, because this movie, in my opinion, is a must-watch film. This truly is a brilliant, brilliant movie. Yeah, this right here is like easily one of my favorite movies of 2025, and in my opinion, it's easily without a doubt the best movie I saw during the month of August. So yeah, that was my August 2025 movie ranking. Hope you all enjoyed it. Do stay tuned for my next video, and until then, take care everyone. I'll see you guys next time, and bye.